Brandon, the wound might be still a little fresh from Saturday, but have you had the chance to look back on that and then reflect on the success this team has had this season despite the unfortunate way it ended?
Yeah, it hurt Saturday, especially losing versus Columbus, but, I think they're one of the best teams we've played all season, so props to them. They played a really good game. But, reflecting on the rest of the season, this team's made history. This team, I've said it plenty of times, this team is special. I think next season, I think the expectations of this team are just as high. So, yeah, just looking back, it's been an unbelievable season. Lots and lots of ups more than downs. So, very grateful to be a part of this club, a part of this team, and be part of the team that made history this year.
The quality of the players on this team is obvious through the success and the accolades you guys have earned this year. But was there something special about this group of personalities, of people, that made this just as possible as the talent you guys had as footballers?
Yeah, I think every single player on this team has had that grit and hunger to win every game all season long. And, there's been lots of games where we've made comebacks and have won games and have fought until the last second and gotten results on the road. And, there's been lots of difficult scenarios where we've come out on top. And so, yeah, besides this team having a lot of talented players, I would say that the culture that's been created here is that of a hungry and gritty team, really.
Brandon, I'd like to ask you to compare 2022 for yourself versus 2023. In 2022, it seemed like a lot of your success came in the league, and then you spread that out over a lot of different things. In 23, you kind of broke in with the national team over the summer, scored some big goals there. Some of the biggest goals of the season were in cup games. You scored them against, Miami, Columbus, I think. Miami, right? Yeah. Just how do you feel about your 2023 versus 2022?
That's a great question. I've thought about that quite a bit recently, and I think I still had a good year this year. Last year was definitely a special year for me, and I broke through every expectation that was had on me last year, and this year it was even higher expectations. And everybody expects me to be scoring 20 plus goals a season, which I think overall the competitions I was able to achieve. But yeah, in the regular season, sometimes I did feel a little like underwhelmed with the goals that I was able to provide, but at the same time, we were still winning all these games. We were still achieving great things and adding up points to ultimately get to Supporter Shield. So sometimes I had to do the dirty work in the defensive side of things that sometimes put me out of situations where I wasn't scoring. But, at the end of the day, if we're winning, that's all that made me happy. Seeing this team being able to get these achievements, it's made me extremely happy. So yeah, the way the season has played out, I'm just as happy as I was in 2022.
I don't want to make you uncomfortable, nor anyone else in this room, but I think it's an important question I want to ask because the fans understand how important you are to this team. And I just remember, I don't know if it was Taylor Twellman's podcast or another one, but one of your goals, and it's okay to have these goals, that you said for yourself was to move to Europe. I don't know, I don't recall the timeline you said, but, pretty much now. Where do you feel like you are with that, and are you ready? Are you ready to go?
For sure. Yeah, my personal goals, my objectives, my dreams have always been to play in Europe, and right now I'm thinking I gotta fight for a spot on the U.S. national team roster for the World Cup coming up. So I think the best way to achieve that would be to be playing overseas, to be playing in Europe, try to grow to take my game to the next level, you know. And I think going to Europe is that. So yeah, if the opportunity comes up this next window, it's something that I've had conversations with this club about, and I know the ownership group and Chris and Pat, they're all on my side. They want to help me grow. They want this team to be a place where players can develop and take the next step. So they're there with me. So that makes me extremely happy, and that just shows what this club is about, you know. This club is something special, like I've said. So having them behind me is something that makes me extremely happy.
Knowing that is a possibility, did you think about that as you walked off the field Saturday, that possibly could have been your last game with FC Cincinnati?
Yeah, you know, after the last whistle, I went around to the coaching staff and thanked them for another great season. You know, you never know what's going to happen after the season ends. And walking around the stadium and applauding the fans and waving, you know, it gets a little emotional because there's been so many great memories at TQL, and you know, hopefully one day I can come back and play at this stadium if I do end up going this next window. But yeah, this city is special to me. The fans are special. This club means so much to me. So yeah, it's a little emotional to lose on Saturday and look around at the fans. You know, it's been such an incredible atmosphere there every single time we step onto the field. So yeah, I mean, TQL is something that I don't take for granted.
And then as far as your season, you were playing with a lot of different striker partners this year, and that was something last year. It was mainly Brenner.
Yeah.
How did that impact things for you? Just, I mean, was it more? Did you find that more challenging to, you know, especially once Bupenza came? That was a new one. You know, you were starting to maybe get comfortable with Dom and Sergio, but just what was that like for you?
Yeah, you know, I think it takes a little bit of time to build chemistry. So sometimes it was, you know, trying to adapt to the kind of players that I was playing around, and you know, that's not always easy. So yeah, having that switched up, it's not always the easiest, but at the same time, like being able to play with Lucho, that was like that was like the common denominator with what was around me. And you know, I think playing with him, it was incredible this season to see what he was able to achieve, and the way he plays is just amazing to see, especially in person, especially on the field next to him. So yeah, I did have to play with a lot of different partners up top, but I think we did all right. You know, I think we still were able to get results and attack and be dangerous, and yeah. So I think maybe it did impact my game a little bit this year, having different forwards around me, but you know, I'm not gonna say that's the reason I didn't score more goals. You know, I think everything happened the way it was meant to be.